Hello and welcome to another presentation brought to you by UFOs and conspiracyinfo.com. Before I begin, just a couple of very quick announcements. First of all, we've managed to find a couple of free things for you guys. If you go to our website, even if you're just visiting and you don't subscribe, there's no conditions attached. There's a couple of free things. All you have to do is pay the shipping and that's it. So it's like $4 or something. So if you like it, fine. If you don't. It's no skin off my nose. It's just something that we thought would be nice for our viewers and subscribers. Okay, so that aside, the next thing is we are doing some exciting things on the website. We're developing it into a whole social media platform. So what you can now do, and it's still in development a little bit, so bear with it, but I think at this point you can register as a member, and what that means is that you can upload an image, a profile, you can make friends, you can join groups just like you would on any social media platform, but the difference is that this is like a niche type of social media, so it's only going to be people that are interested in the topic of UFOs, conspiracies, ETs, space stuff, all that stuff. So it's like-minded people that you can socialize with, and you can share files, you can do all that exciting stuff. So that's pretty exciting. So there's that as well, so you might want to give that a try. So what am I talking about today? Well, the title of this video is World War Mars, and also I'm going to be discussing about pareidolia, because that's something that's come up a few times, and it comes up sometimes when people are putting together videos of anomalies on Mars. So let's talk about pareidolia and address the issue. Okay, so we're going to talk about that first, and then we're going to discuss this particular Curiosity Rover image on Mars, PIA 17931. There's a lot going on there, and I'll explain that in a moment. But first of all, let's define, for those of you who don't know, what pareidolia is. And basically what it is, it's when you see something that is completely irrelevant and insignificant. It's a psychological phenomenon. So, for example, the best way to explain it is like this: you get yourself a latte, and all the foam on top, just by sheer coincidence, there's like a couple of indentations in the foam, which could be eyes, and then you got like a semicircle mouth. So you say, "Hey, there's a smiley face in my coffee," and you say to your wife or your girlfriend, "Oh, look at this." So it's all good fun, but in actual fact, there is no smiley face in your coffee. That's just the way you're interpreting the shape of the foam. Okay. Also, there's people that claim that they see the face of Jesus in their grilled cheese on toast, whereas like it's absolutely not the face of Jesus, but it's what the mind wants to see. Okay, but the thing is with this is that it's insignificant. Okay, because it bears no relevance whatsoever, which is where it differs on Mars. Now, what I want to say is that there is a bit of pareidolia at play when looking for Mars anomalies, where the face is in the rocks. Now, out of curiosity, right, I went onto Google Earth and I was looking around Google Earth in the desert areas to see if I could find faces in the rocks, of which I knew would be either, well, I knew that they would have to be natural, right? Because on the Earth, what areas of barren desert, whatever you see there is natural, as opposed to if man has been in there and made structures and things. Okay, and I did, lo and behold, I did see faces in the rocks in the desert on the Earth. So you could easily see faces in the rocks on Mars as well. However, it's the context and the reason why you're looking for things, and we'll go into that a bit more in a minute. I want to show you a few examples of some images I took from the Earth. Well, I didn't take them, but I pulled them off the internet. Okay, so here's image number one. Okay, so this is a rock that is completely natural, but it looks like we've got hair and eyes, a nose and a mouth, and even a chin, so that's quite a good one. Okay, here we have what looks to be like a pharaoh queen or something. You've got a neck there, you've got a face, and you've got the head, elongated head or whatever. Okay, and now another one. a cliff. We've got a head with eyes and a nose. Okay, and here's another one where we're looking side on. We see a nose, we see lips, and possibly an eye, but we're looking at side on. So, so people could look at this on another planet and say, oh, this is evidence of life on the planet because someone's gone and built that. Well, here on the Earth, we get these things naturally. They're just like kind of, freaks of nature or nature's sense of humor or whatever. Okay, so I want to show you, well, there's one more. There's another one. Okay, I want to show you an example of a case where I believe someone has mistakenly took something on Mars to be something which is not, and I'll tell you why. So here we have what someone believes to be like a lizard or a dragon's head, a head of an animal, whereas to me that's clearly two rocks, one upon the other. Okay, here's like a mouth, but we don't see any teeth. But the main thing here, I mean, yes, there is an eye, but it's not very well defined. But the main thing here is that this rock, or these two rocks, one upon the other, is exactly the same color as all the surrounding rocks and the surrounding ground in the area of which it sits. So it doesn't stand out in that way. Yeah, so I think this is a case of pareidolia. Now, had the person, whoever is showing this, pointed this out, this would have been of a lot more interest to me, because here we have a crafted stone of some kind, possibly, because it's got straight edges, it's got a perfect corner, a straight edge there, so that could be a building block, but anyway. But no, not this. Okay, so when it comes to looking for anomalies on Mars, why could it be different to pareidolia? Well, remember I said about significance, so like the face in the foam of your coffee, okay, as opposed to on Mars. Well, see, I happen to believe that Mars was once, and I don't hold this view on my own, but Mars was once a civilized planet, much like the Earth, okay? And the reason it was much like the Earth is because there were Mars survivors that came to the Earth many thousands or millions of years ago and influenced the life that we experience in our society today. Okay. Now, NASA themselves say, and I said in a previous blog and in a previous video that you can read, maybe I'll link to it if I remember in the description box. NASA believed that 4.5 billion years ago, of which I disagree with the chronology, but let's just go with NASA's chronology. 4.5 billion years ago, Mars was a habitable, rich planet with oceans on it and plenty of flora and fauna, and it was just like Earth. Okay, so it's definitely could have sustained life. And what happened was there was some kind of cataclysm, some kind of an apocalypse or doomsday cataclysm, whatever you want to call it. But something happened rather abruptly that completely blew away the atmosphere, which meant the atmospheric pressure couldn't hold all the ocean, and the ocean vaporized into space, and then it became very barren and lifeless, and everything was brought to an end. Okay, so with that in mind, if there was once civilization on Mars, will there be evidence on Mars of civilization, the ruins of it? Well, you would have to say, well, if there is, then we should be able to find some things. Okay. Now, I believe, and this is what I personally do, and this is why I believe that the image that we're going to discuss today is significant. I believe that if there is an anomaly, okay, it's not going to be an isolated object, a small isolated object in the middle of the Martian desert with nothing else around for hundreds or thousands of miles, because that wouldn't make any sense. And that, to me, if there was such a case, would just be a sheer, like I say, sense of humour of nature or freak of nature, or just, hey, well, that's really strange. That rock happens to look like a particular thing, but it is indeed a rock, because why would there just be one thing? Now, I believe that if there was, like, say, a village or a town or some kind of a settlement where people habited a certain area, even if they were kind of spread out a little bit, and if that was brought to ruin, there would be more than one anomaly around the vicinity. Does that make sense? Okay, that's what I believe. So when I look for an anomaly, I look for another and another and another. And the image I'm about to show you is famous because it has an anomaly. And you'll find many YouTube videos, and if you type into Google this image, you'll see one or two anomalies that are circulating around the internet. However, I've gone through the image with a fine-tooth comb for about 4 to 6 hours and found things that other people haven't noticed, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the reason I did that is because of the belief that there has to be more. Now, the thing about Mars is that whatever happened a long time ago. Okay, let's not debate about how long ago, but it would have been a long time ago, and there's obviously been a lot of erosion take place, and obviously a lot of weather and a lot of things going on, and a lot of stuff is under the ground. It's covered in sand. Mars is very sandy, and a lot of it's under the ground, but there are things that are protruding above the ground, and there's things that are completely above the ground. So let's just go into the image and take a look and see what we see. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you what the image is famous for. So what I did is I downloaded the image, and you can do the same on the NASA website. There's a couple of file options here. So I downloaded one of the images, and here it is here. Okay, but what I needed to do is I was finding so many anomalies that in order for me to be able to, uh, get them in front of me quickly to present them to you and not take forever, I had to open Paint because I'm not very computer savvy, and this is the only way I know how to do it. So open Paint, which I've got open here, so I can do myself little markers. Now, I've said previously in other videos, I don't like it when people use red arrows or red circles to circle the anomaly, because if I'm telling you there's an anomaly in a particular picture, it's obviously not a very good one if I've got to point it out. If it's a good one, I should be able to say, well, in this picture there is a such and such, and you should be able to see it just as clearly as I do. But the markers in this instance is for my benefit so that I can be reminded as to where the things are that I'm looking for. Okay, now, so I've got this image open in Paint. I've not done anything to enhance it whatsoever. Just use my markers. So first of all, let's go to the famous thing, okay, which is right here. Okay, so we'll zoom in a little bit, and what we see is a face on a rock. Okay, but it's not a face on a rock. It's actually carved into the rock. Okay, I'll show you. It's quite detailed. It's quite an impressive one. Hang on, let me zoom out and get my bearings. Bear with me. Oh yeah, here we go, here we go. Yeah, so ignore my red line. But yeah, we see here, I'm sure I can zoom in a bit better. We're not going to lose much resolution because it's quite close to the... Okay. Oops. Oh, hang on, I know what I'm doing. I keep zooming out and then in again. I'm doing the wrong thing here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. Yeah, so we see an eye socket, but not only do we see an eye socket, this is where it differs. Remember those Earth images I showed you where there's like an eye, and remember the froth in the coffee where we got the indentations? Well, this is very different because what we see here is not only an eye socket, but we see definition around the eye, like the sort of where the eyebrow bone, we've got a cheekbone, we've got a defined nose, and we can't really see the mouth because where the mouth begins, it then goes beneath the surface. Okay, but behind the head is something curious. We've got a like possibly a carved stone, which was part of a building because we see some pattern in the stone. Okay, so that's very interesting. So, people point out this anomaly in this image. Well, I'm thinking, well, okay, if this is here, it's not going to be isolated. There's bound to be something else in the area. If there was someone living here, or if there was people here, and then this is what's remaining, there's got to be other remains. Well, there is another famous anomaly, which you will see people talk about in this image, and it's right here. And this looks like a bowl, but it's obviously not a bowl because it's very large. So it's like basically you got a wall, a lip around it. It's like a wall, flat base there. So the best way I can describe it, and I'm not trying to suggest that it is what I'm about to say it is, but like a paddling pool. Okay, I'm not saying it's a Martian paddling pool, but that type of shape and structure. Okay, so that's what that is. Now, I'm just going to take a quick break from this image because I just remembered something that I forgot to bring up. If we go back to these images, remember I showed you the example here of, and I thought that this was a case of pareidolia. Well, here's a discovery I made, and it's on a previous video, again in an image that people were pointing out other things, but I managed to find this. You'll find it very hard to find this because you have to zoom in and zoom in. It's like very small in the overall image. But this I believe to be very defined face of a dragon. Okay. Not only have you got the eyeball, but you've got like the eyeball, like the pupil, carved into the eye as well. Very defined facial features, around the snout and around here. You got the spikes like a dinosaur as the spikes would come out. But if this was a head on its own, I would maybe write it off. But the fact is, it's got like a body with a jaggedy thing going down the spine of the animal. Okay, which I'm not suggesting it's an animal. I believe that it's an ornament. Possibly it's an animal. I just don't know. But I mean, it certainly is not natural. And there's a leg as well. All right. So you compare that to say this, and yes, while the examples like this may be kind of laughed at. I wouldn't laugh at anything, but where people would like maybe think, oh well, that's silly. This is, I believe, is a genuine thing that should be paid attention to when we see things like this on Mars. Okay, so going back to the image that we're talking about, right? So what we've done is we talked about the two sort of famous anomalies in this image. Okay, so I'm looking for other things now. This here, let's start here because this is a good starting point. If you look here, we have got what I believe to be the foundation of a house that's ruined. Okay, we've got a very flat surface. This is a very flat surface. And we've got the foundation stones right here in a perfect line. Here we've got a rectangle. We've got perfect corners here and here, perfect corners. And it's like concrete, if you like. I mean, it's a singular, continuous stone going right the way across in such a way that we've got a flat surface on the top, so it's like more elevated here than it is back here, and it's just perfect. It's the perfect foundation. This was obviously a full wall and possibly a roof and everything at one stage. I mean, you see this on the earth all the time, like the foundations of a house. It looks no different to the foundations of a house that we would see on the earth. I mean, like, any one of you watching this video, try and tell me that that is not the foundation of a house. I mean, how on earth could that be natural, accidental coincidence, just, there so perfectly like that? Okay, so possibly, and not definitely, but possibly, up the slope, just behind it, we once upon a time had another house. Okay, right here. There's other houses as well that are not ruins, they're intact, I believe, but this is getting difficult because they're so far in the image that you've got to zoom in quite far. Okay, so here we've got possibly a house. Now, if I zoom in, the pixelation will be awful, and the quality will be awful because you're not supposed to zoom this far in on an image like this. But here, looks like a house. Now you see darker features where there's possibly openings in the house, but also we see a shape here. I wonder if I can get away with zooming in a little bit more. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, here we go. Oh, we'll try it. Okay, so where did it go? Oh, there it is. It's over there. So you follow my mouse? Okay, it looks like you got a taller bit there. To me, when I first saw this, I thought it looked like a little bit like a church. A taller bit there, a lower roof there, and a couple of openings. And over here we've got like maybe what looks like three structures, maybe a house with some outbuildings. I don't know. I'm just purely speculating. But again, we've got like darker squares here where there's openings, but they look like structures to me. There looks like a structure there. So there's structures on the horizon. and I put a marker there because it looked like something was in the sky. But anyway, there's so much that I can't talk about any one particular thing for very long. But I put a circle here to remind me the fact that if we look at these mountains behind, there's a green tinge. Now we're not going to see lush green because NASA put filters on the cameras to give a reddish effect. We're not getting proper Earth-like colours, and they say it's the red planet, which I believe is a psyop. And I believe they make sure that we get a reddish tinge to disguise anomalies that are too damning that will give the game away. But yeah, there's I believe that that's supposed to be green. It certainly looks green. Okay, so let's go more to ground level. Let's come in from the horizon and let's check out a few. If there were houses and there was a cataclysm, there's going to be remains. There's going to be remains. There's going to be bits and pieces, evidence of civilization, all around about. Okay, now this to me is amazing. This is one of the most interesting things I've seen on Mars. Okay, I was having a sip of my coffee because I wanted to take a moment for you to look at that without me saying anything. What we have here is it's like a plank of wood. Okay, it's different colour to the surrounding area, to where it sits. But the thing is, right? Look, perfect line, a perfect line up, and a perfect line. So you've got two parallel perfect lines and a perfect line. So it's a perfect rectangle, as a plank of wood would be. But not only that, but what makes it even more impressive, is the fact that you've got two perfect straight line grooves in the plank as well. Okay, so it would be impressive enough if we just had this outline of perfect lined, perfect rectangle plank. Okay, that's like protruding into the ground. But to take it one step further, look, the grooves, amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and push my luck and see if we, we're not going to get much better than that. Okay, but that's pretty impressive. Now, over to the right a little bit, we've got a very impressive thing. This, it's like a nutcracker type shape. It looks metallic to me. So again, it's different colour, so it stands out to all the rocks all around it. Okay, so you got this going up. It maybe goes in a V and goes down, but it's hidden behind a rock here. But the most impressive thing is you've got like teeth. Okay, it's like jaggedy. Now I don't mean like human teeth or animal teeth, so don't take me the wrong way. But teeth, as in like metal teeth, like a comb or something. So I mean, like that is completely unnatural. I believe. Okay, so as we look around, we do see so many anomalies. If I didn't know any better, I would say that was a book. I mean, it looks just like a book, but I don't know. I mean, that's a big claim to make. I just don't know. So I put markers all around because all I can say is that they look to me to be unnatural. They look to be evidence of a ruined civilization. Okay, that looks like you can put your hand in there. Okay, so whatever this is, it's like it's hollow here, so it's strange. Okay, strange things everywhere. That's strange. That's strange. Now some things I might be mistaken, and they might just be strange rocks, but I don't think even you would go that far. I think that, okay, I mean, like, that's strange, just looks like interiors or exteriors of buildings. Okay, when I first saw these, I thought, no, it can't be. They almost look like car tires. Look, you can see the tread. Okay, now I don't know if there was cars on Mars. Some people say there were. I don't know if they're tires. They're just something. I'm not making any suggestions. Well, I am making suggestions, but I'm just saying these things are something. Here we've got a black, like, picture frame. Okay, so it's like a black square. I mean, that's jet black. In among the rock. What's that about? And that's not the only one. We see that again in a minute. You know, we do. We see it again. Now let me zoom out so I can find some of my markers. Oh dear. Hang on. Yeah, we see another perfect square jet black picture frame type thing. It's amazing. Okay, so you can see by my markers, there's things all over the place. There's lots of like decorative type rocks. The whole area round is full of weird things that could be items or bits. Okay, now here I want to zoom in. Yet again, we see perfect lines. That's what gets me. You're not supposed to get perfect lines, perfect squares, rectangles, etc. It's just not supposed to happen naturally. You know, if you see a rectangle, something with perfect lines like this, you automatically think that's man-made. Okay, so here we got like straight line, perfect corner, straight line. Looks like a box is protruding into the ground. We're just seeing a little bit. Okay, possibly there as well. I don't know. But also as well up here, we've got like a line there. Looks like two stone slabs put together, maybe beneath here. Do you know what? Archaeologists would have a field day if they went to Mars. I think. I really do. I really do think they would. So there's just anomalies everywhere when you zoom in and you concentrate. You just need to pick your areas. If you pick your areas, you'll find them. You need to find possible X-inhabited places. Now, this item here, I don't know what it is, but it's really weird. And it definitely is not a rock. It definitely is not a rock. And you'll see exactly what I mean if I can zoom in on it. Oh dear. Hang on. I thought that was strange. Oh dear. I can't. Oh, there it. How do I get there? Oh, trying to get in there. Anyway, do you know what? Oh, there. Good. See that? It's brown, it's bronze, gold, whatever, copper in colour, and it's like a spirally shape. Hang on. Lost it again, but you saw it there. So I mean, like, that's just not natural. Yeah. So anyway, download the image for yourself, go through it, see what you think.